In the last episode, we saw how the need for precise measurement required during rituals resulted in Baudhayan's Sulba Sutra. But you see, India is also a treasure trove of knowledge of both the inner world as well as the outer world. And so a new demand was now rising. The demand to be able to efficiently memorize and to be able to efficiently reproduce or write this knowledge down. Now, how were this supposed to be done? That is when India entered into a new era of Sanskrit grammar or Sanskrit prosody. It is while trying to fulfill this objective that Pingala resulted in writing some highly sophisticated mathematical concepts which are still used in modern mathematics. So, the demand of the time is to be able to understand the knowledge of the scriptures in an accessible way, in an easily understandable way. This gave development to what is known as Sanskrit prosody. Now, think about it. As listeners, we want content that is easily understandable, that is able to have lesser number of words and lesser number of sentences. However, as speakers, we want to give as much content as possible in the most efficient and simplest way. This gave rise to many scholars to be able to develop efficient means of communication using Sanskrit prosody. The goal is simple: use lesser syllables, communicate more information. Pingala was one of these scholars who lived at 2nd century CE in the western parts of Bharat and contributed immensely in the field of mathematics as well as Sanskrit. Prosody translates to rhythms or patterns. So all Sanskrit poems are based on certain rhythms or patterns, and Sanskrit prosody is the rules regarding these rhythms. Now, these rules were not just written out of sudden creativity, but inculcates a lot of logic and some really complex mathematical concepts. So, what are these mathematical concepts? Let us see the works of Pingala. Pingala's main work is his Chanda Shastra. Chanda means pleasant and Shastra means tool. And Chanda Shastra is a tool to produce pleasant music. So, how does he introduce Sanskrit prosody in this text? He uses what he calls as Laghu and Guru, short syllables as well as long syllables. For example, A would be a short syllable, while A would be a long syllable. So, Pingala's main objective is to study the number of ways in which Laghu and Guru can be arranged to create shlokas. For example, we have 3 beats. Then we can accommodate either 3 Laghus, 1 Guru and 1 Laghu, or 1 Laghu and 1 Guru. Hence, for 3 beats, the number of ways in which Laghu and Guru can be arranged is 3. And he proceeded further with 5 beats, 8 beats, 10 beats, 12 beats, etc. Now, while calculating the number of arrangements for each beat, he ended up with a series of number 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, as in 1 pattern for 1 beat, 2 pattern for 2 beats, 3 pattern for 3 beats, 5 patterns for 4 beats, 8 patterns for 5 beats, etc. Now, if you are a math person or have watched movies such as 21 or the Da Vinci Code, you would instantly recognize that this is nothing but the Fibonacci series. The Fibonacci series is a series of numbers conceptualized and written by Leonardo Fibonacci, an Italian mathematician in the year 1202 CE. However, 1000 years ago, we see Pingala having found this series and also named it Matra Meru. However, the Fibonacci number series contains a 0 while Matra Meru doesn't, because as of now, the 0 has not been invented yet. In fact, we have been mathematical concept in Indian classical music a long time before even Fibonacci was formed. Acharya Hemachandra has written commentary on this particular series after Pingala but before Fibonacci, and that is why there is being made an attempt to call this series as the Pingala Hemachandra series instead of the Fibonacci series. Similarly, while talking about the Matra Meru, Pingala also talks about Meru Prastha. Meru Prastha is nothing but Pascal's triangle, which is credited to Blaise Pascal, who existed at least 1500 years after Pingala. Again, Hemachandra even perfected the Meru Prastha after Pingala. Do these questions look familiar to you? Although we have been never told that it was Pingala who first came up with and solved equations, it was while talking about Sanskrit meters and composing shlokas did he compose and prove the binomial theorem. Now, if you had noticed the use of pattern of Laghu and Guru, you would notice that it is very similar to what we use today in computer language in the form of 0 and 1. Hence, the use of binary numbers can also be credited to Pingala as back as 2nd century CE. Pingala also came up with the rules of combinatorics, which is highly used in mathematics today, but still went uncredited to him. He called combinatorics as Ankapasa. As you can see, the shlokas that we read today was not just made out of some sudden creativity, but was systematically produced with mathematical concepts inculcated into them along with the profound knowledge that they carried. This was all in order to make sure that they use less syllables, less words, small sentences, but to give profound knowledge of the inner world as well as the outer world. Now, let me tell you a secret. It was first in the history of Indian mathematics that Pingala hinted at something called Shunya. Shunya, a concept for nothing. It may be believed that it was this concept that later gave rise to the invention of the concept of zero, a number for nothingness.
Now don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Uthishta Bharata. Namaste and Jai Hind.